Hello, grade 9 students. In this video, we're going to talk about our new exam, about the biology exam 2 for grade 9. So let's start for question number 1. Transmission of hereditary traits in Mandarin plants. Determine the type of inheritance of the gene responsible for the taste of the mandarin plants. A cross is performed between two varieties of mandarin plants that differ by one trait only. So what do we call this cross? It's called a monohybrid cross. If the parents are pure and they differ in only one trait. The cross and its results are represented in document 1. This is document 1. In this document, they show us that after crossing mandarin plant of sweet taste, this is pure race, meaning that it's pure, crossed with the male with mandarin plants with bitter taste, and also it's pure. So the parents are pure and they differ in only one trait. So what do we call this cross? It's called monohybrid cross. They give in the F1 in the first generation 100% mandarin plants with mild taste. So there is no sweet taste in the F1. There is no bitter taste in the F1. So mild taste is between the sweet and the bitter. So this is the case of incomplete dominance, or it's called intermediate dominance. So they said specify every word or every action verb at the rhyme of Wi-Fi, so we have to justify. So specify the type of inheritance studied in the mandarin plants is a intermediate dominance or incomplete dominance, sent across between two parents that are of pure race. One of them with the sweet taste, which is the male, and the other with the bitter taste, which is the female. The opposite. Mandarin plants is the female and the of sweet taste, and the male is with bitter taste. They gave 100% with mild taste, which is in between the sweet and the bitter. So this is the case of intermediate dominance, or it's called incomplete dominance. Designate by symbols each of the corresponding alleles. So giving the symbols should be in capitalized. So first part is the case of incomplete dominance. Why? Because the cross done between the two race plants, the bitter taste mandarin plants and the sweet taste mandarin plants, they gave rise to intermediate phenotype in the F1 generation, which is mild taste mandarin plants. So they receive one allele from the sweet taste parent and the other allele from the bitter taste parent. So this is the allele in incomplete dominance. Symbols, let S capital be the symbol of the allele coding for its sweet taste, which is in incomplete dominance with the bitter taste. Let B capital be the symbol of the allele coding for the bitter taste, which is incomplete dominance with the sweet taste. 43. Write by referring to the document the genotypes of each of the two parents and their descendants. The parents are pure, and they gave the symbol for the sweet is S, and the bitter is B. So S capital for the female, B capital for the male. The F1, they receive one allele from the maternal and one allele from the paternal origin. So they will be heterozygous, having genotype BS or SV. The descendants of F1 generation are self-crossed. So F1 with F1 is called self-cross. The phenotypic results are shown in the document 2. This is histogram. They show that we have 25% they have sweet taste, 25% they have bitter taste, and about 50% they have mild taste. They said make the necessary factorial analysis to verify the phenotypic results. So you should have 25% sweet taste having genotype SS, 25% having bitter taste having genotype BB, and 50% having genotype BS or SB. Verify if it's necessary to perform a test cross to determine the real genotype, the descendants of the second generation. We don't have to do a test cross. Why? Because the parents, they are pure. This is the factorial analysis. BS crossed with BS, 50%, 50%. In the table of cross, we have 25 BB, 25 BS, also 25 BS, and 25 SS. BB is bitter taste. SS is sweet taste. BS is the mild. 25 plus 25 is going to be 50%. So the results, they are verified. No, it's not necessary to perform the test cross. Why? Because the descendants, they have the same phenotype as their parents, sweet and bitter. They are of pure race, even genotype SS and BB. And those of intermediate, they have genotype B as they inherit one allele from the parent and one allele from the maternal origin and one allele from the maternal origin. So they are heterozygous. So there is no need to perform the testicles to know if they are pure or hybrid. This is for question number 1. Let's move now for question 2. Urine analysis. This analysis of the urine permits to detect certain diseases. The presence of proteins in urine indicates damage of the functional unit of the kidneys, which is called the nephron. So whenever we have proteins in the urine, this will lead finally to the damage and the destruction of the functional unit of the kidneys, which is called the nephron. However, the presence of glucose in urine indicates another disease, which is called diabetes, characterized by high level of glucose in blood. So here they give you 3 notes if you realize this. First note, the functional unit of the kidneys is called the nephron. Presence of high level of protein in urine lead to the damage of the nephrons. 3, the presence of high level of sugar or glucose in the urine indicate the presence of a disease which is called diabetes. The adjacent document represents the results of urine analysis of normal individual X. So normal individual X is our reference. So this is the reference for us. So yani, Y and Z should be compared with X, which is the normal. So X is classified as the control tube, if you remember. So this is as a control. And we have 2 other individual Y and Z showing some health troubles. Part 1, pick out from the text. So pick out from the text, you have to use the text and not your acquired knowledge. The functional unit of the kidney is here mentioned here. The damage of the functional unit of the kidney, which is the nephron. So simply you say the nephron. One characteristic of diabetes. Diabetes high level is characterized by high level of glucose in the blood. This is first 2 parts, they are picked out. Part 2, identify. So here you have to justify, like you did in the exam yesterday. Some of you, they didn't justify which one has diabetes. You said only Y or Z. So this is not correct. Identify the individual Y or Z who has diabetes and Y or Z who has damage in the nephrons. Let's have a look on this table. This table showing for Y, it shows 1.5 gram per liter of proteins. So compared with the normal, it shows high level of proteins compared to the normal, 1.5 compared to the 0. So 1.5 is greater than 0. So we have 1.5 gram per liter of proteins in the urine of the individual Y. While the amount of glucose was 0. It was normal. So here, high level of proteins. So high level of proteins, we said that, or the presence of proteins, let's say here, indicate the presence of the damage of the nephrons, the functional unit of the kidneys. So 2.2, it's for individual Y. Diabetes, individual Z, 0 level of proteins, 0 gram per liter. So it's normal. While compared with the level of glucose, 2 gram per liter, which is not normal. It's greater than the normal level, it should be 0. So individual Z is a diabetic person since it has high level of glucose, higher than the normal. So the functional unit of the kidney is called the nephron. Pay attention here, 0.75 marks for this, and 0.75 marks to say that the characteristic of diabetes, it is the high level of glucose in the blood. Part 2, the presence of glucose in the urine indicates that the individual is diabetic. So the level of glucose in the urine of individual Z is 2 gram per liter, which is greater than that of the normal individual. The normal individual, it was only 0. So individual Z is said to be diabetic. While the presence of protein indicates the damage of the nephrons. So individual Y shows high level of protein compared to the normal, 1.5 gram per liter, while the normal, it shows 0 gram per liter. So the individual Y is said to be having the damage in the nephrons due to the level of proteins found in the urine compared to the normal. This is the first two questions. First question has, second question is 4 marks, while the first question is about 6 marks. So these are 10 marks over 20. Let's move to question number 3. Cellulose is a carbohydrate composed of glucose molecules. It's found in the food of plant origin. However, it's not digested in the human digestive tract due to the absence of the cellulase enzyme. So cellulose is not digested in the human digestive tract. Why? Since we don't have the cellulase enzyme. So first, cellulose facilitates the movement of the food through the large intestine. So I repeat, cellulose is a carbohydrate. It's composed of glucose molecules. It's found in the plant origin. However, it's not digested in the human digestive tract. Why? Because we have the absence of the cellulase enzyme. Cellulose facilitates the movement of the food through the large intestine. Pick out from document 1 the name of the molecule that constitutes cellulose. Cellulose is composed of glucose molecules. On the name of the molecule, it's called glucose. For B, the reason why cellulose is not digested in humans also is mentioned. It's not digested in human digestive tract due to the absence of cellulase enzyme. In order to verify the effect of cellulose on the activity of the large intestine, a study is performed on a group of healthy individuals of same age, mass, and the same sex. A suitable technique is used to determine or to measure the peristaltic movement of the intestine in each individual of this group in the 3 situations. Situation 1, they are fed with food devoid of cellulose. Situation 2, they are fed with food poor in cellulose. It contains an amount of cellulose, but it's very poor, low amount of cellulose. 1, there is no cellulose. Situation 3, they are fed with food rich in cellulose. Let's see what the difference. In the absence of cellulose, the peristaltic movements of the intestines in orbital units in AU, it was about 10 AU. Poor or low amount of cellulose was 20 AU, while high level or richness in cellulose was 45 AU. So the presence of cellulose facilitates the movement or the action on the peristaltic movements of the intestines. So they are important for the peristaltic movements of the intestine as shown in this histogram. The obtained results are shown, deduced based on the performed study, whose results are shown in document 2, the effect of cellulose on the intestinal activity. So as I said, cellulose, whenever we have cellulose, richness in cellulose, high amount of cellulose, we have the peristaltic movement was acting well, and we have the facilitating of the peristaltic movements in the intestines. Sammy suffers from constipation. The doctor advised him to eat more fruits and vegetables. Justify based on what precedes the doctor's advice. Why did the doctor said that for Sammy suffer from constipation? Why the doctor advises him to eat more fruits and vegetables? Why? Because they are food of plant origin, so they contain cellulose. Cellulose, as shown in this histogram, it facilitates the peristaltic movement of the intestine, so it helps the movement of the food to the large intestine and helps Sammy to get rid of this problem, which is constipation. So first part, what are the constituents forming the cellulose? They are glucose molecules. Why cellulose is not digested in the human digestive tract? It's due to the absence of the cellulase enzyme. As the analysis for the histogram, the peristaltic movement of the intestine was least minimum in the group of food of healthy individuals eating food which is devoid of cellulose. The peristaltic movement increased to a higher level from 20 to about 45 AU when it becomes rich in cellulose. So the cellulose will facilitate or will stimulate the peristaltic movement of the intestine, and this will help with the movement of the food. That's why the doctor in part 3 advises Sammy to eat food rich in the cellulose, which are fruits and vegetables, to increase the peristaltic movements through the large intestine and the small intestine, and to help the food to move faster. So this will lead to the end of the constipation problem. So some fruits and vegetables, they are of plant origin, so they contain the cellulose. This is the most important part, or the most important note here. So fruits and vegetables, they are plant origin. Sure, they are not of animal origin. So they facilitate pressures of oxygen gas, O2, and carbon dioxide, CO2, in the blood, leaving the lungs in a healthy person and another anemic person suffering from respiratory difficulty. So here, in the healthy person, the partial pressure of oxygen gas in kilopascal was 13.2, while that of carbon dioxide was 5.2. The anemic person suffering from respiratory difficulties, the partial pressure of oxygen gas, it was 5.5, which is less than that in the healthy person, while that of the carbon dioxide was 6.4, which is greater than that in the healthy person, which was 5.2 kilopascal. So compare in the two individuals the partial pressure of oxygen gas, oxygen with oxygen. So the partial pressure of the oxygen gas in the normal individual or in the healthy individual was 13.2 kilopascal, which is greater than that in the anemic person, which is 5.5 kilopascal. Carbon dioxide in the healthy person was 5.2 kilopascal, which is less than that in the anemic person, which was 6.4 kilopascal. Derived from this comparison, the cause of the respiratory difficulties of in the anemic person. Why? We have low partial pressure of the oxygen gas and high partial pressure of carbon dioxide, and this will lead to the difficulties in the respiration. So here, healthy person has higher level of respiration of the partial pressure of oxygen, and here the anemic person has higher partial pressure regarding for carbon dioxide. This is the cause of the problem in the anemic person. The number of red blood cells in this anemic person is equal to 3 millions per millimeter cube of blood. This number is lower than the normal value of the red blood cells, which is about 5 millions. So it's less than about 2 millions. 5 millions per millimeter cube of blood. So they said, what is the name of the constituent of the red blood cells that ensures the transport of oxygen gas? So this constituent is called hemoglobin. Based on the above information and to your knowledge, so you have to use your knowledge. Explain why the anemic person has low partial pressure of oxygen, since it has low level of hemoglobin. So here, the healthy person, the partial pressure of oxygen gas was 13 kPa, which is higher than the partial pressure of oxygen in the anemic, which is 5.5 kPa. While in the healthy person, the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the healthy person was 5.2 kilopascal, which is less than that in the anemic person, which is less than that in the anemic person gas, 6.4 kPa. This is the marks on the comparison. Values, they are mentioned here in the text, in the box, in the table. So you have to copy them using greater than, less than. That's it, and use the values. The principal cause of the respiratory difficulties, it's the low pressure of the oxygen gas and the increase in the level of CO2 pressure. What is the name of the constituent? You have to say only hemoglobin, which is about 0.5 months. Only say you have to say hemoglobin. It is the constituent of the red blood cells that ensures or that help the transport of the respiratory gas, which is oxygen. They said in part 3, based on the above information and your knowledge. Pay attention, your knowledge also. Explain why the anemic person has low partial pressure of oxygen. We know that hemoglobin will have the role in transportation of the higher amount of the oxygen gas in the form of oxyhemoglobin. The anemic person has a number of red blood cells, which is about 3 millions per millimeter cube. which is lower than the normal values, which is about 5 millions per millimeter cube. So the quantity of hemoglobin will decrease. So this decrease will show that we have heart pressure, partial pressure of oxygen gas is low and slow in the anemic person compared with the normal person. So this is related to the hemoglobin since we have less amount of red blood cells, 5 millions in the normal person and 3 millions in the anemic, so less hemoglobin, less partial pressure of the oxygen gas due to the low transportation of the oxygen gas. Okay, guys? Thank you.